Most men are not exhausted by the weight they carry, but by the people who expect them to carry it. They pour effort, emotion, and loyalty into relationships, workplaces, and social circles that give nothing back. They don't realize the truth. The world drains men who care too loudly. It rewards those who remain deliberate, selective, and untouchable. Controlled detachment is not withdrawal. It is the refusal to be emotionally available to everything that demands attention. A man who practices it does not chase validation, debate opinions, or correct misunderstandings. He does not rush to defend himself. He does not react to every tone, insult, or assumption. He allows others to reveal themselves while he maintains distance. People assume that caring makes you noble. They never question how caring makes you vulnerable. When a man cares too easily, his emotions are accessible. His time is inexpensive. His boundaries become suggestions instead of laws. He becomes predictable, and predictability is weakness. Anyone who knows what provokes you owns a piece of you. Controlled detachment removes that ownership. A detached man is not indifferent. He is aware. He knows where he is investing his energy and why. He does not attach himself to outcomes he doesn't control, nor does he react to forces that do not serve him. He understands something most men never learn. Emotional intensity without direction is a leash. Focused emotion is a weapon. Once a man begins to detach, conversations shift. People speak differently around him, not out of respect, but out of uncertainty. They cannot read his intentions. They do not know if he cares, if he notices, or if he will react. This confuses them, and confusion is influence. The man who cannot be easily interpreted becomes someone others must consider before acting. Detachment is not about being cold. It's about refusing to let external factors hijack your internal world. It is the moment a man stops asking, "What should I do?" and starts asking, "What deserves my response?" Not everything does. In fact, almost nothing does. The man who understands this becomes rare. Rarity creates demand. Demand creates power. A man does not struggle to detach because he lacks strength. He struggles because he believes he owes something. This belief is the parasite that feeds on men who try to rise. Emotional debt is invisible. It is implanted through culture, family, and expectation. It tells men they must justify their decisions, explain their silence, and seek permission for their desires. It convinces them that boundaries are selfish, ambition is arrogance, and distance is disrespect. Over time, a man begins to feel responsible for everyone else's feelings but his own. This debt has no origin, yet it dictates behavior. Men carry it without questioning who issued the bill. They apologize for being tired. They soften their tone to avoid discomfort. They let others waste their time because saying no feels dangerous. They become guilty for wanting solitude, misunderstood for wanting clarity, resented for wanting standards. Emotional debt is the chain that turns men into servants, servants of expectation, approval, and endless explanation. A man who believes he owes people access to him will never own himself. He becomes busy but never fulfilled. He becomes agreeable but never respected. He becomes present but never powerful. Power begins the moment the man asks, "Who told me I owe this?" When that question lands, everything changes. He realizes most of what he feels obligated to do has no value. The conversations he entertains, the favors he performs, the explanations he gives, none of them move his life forward. They only confirm that others have authority over him. Canceling emotional debt is not an act of rebellion. It is an act of clarity. A man who breaks it becomes difficult to manipulate. He stops responding out of guilt. He stops participating in dynamics that drain him. He no longer tries to fix perceptions or maintain peace he didn't break. People react harshly to a man who stops paying emotional debts, not because he is wrong, but because they can no longer use him. The discomfort they feel is not a sign of his cruelty. It is a sign of their loss of access. When this realization settles, a man sees the truth. Detachment was never about distancing himself from others. It was about returning to himself. A man who practices controlled detachment does not become emotionless. He becomes sovereign. His presence shifts from available to selective. His reactions shift from automatic to intentional. His value shifts from assumed to undeniable. He is no longer shaped by the world. He becomes the one who shapes it.
Most men walk through the world distracted. They speak before thinking, react before analyzing, and expose themselves without realizing it. They mistake noise for presence. They believe attention is earned by volume. They never notice who actually controls the room, the one who says the least. Silent observation is not shyness, it is awareness. It is the shift from being a participant in chaos to becoming the architect of it. A man who observes does not need to announce his thoughts to prove intelligence. He watches, waits, and collects information others freely give away. The world is loud. People reveal themselves without being asked. Their insecurities show in their tone, their desires in their eyes, their loyalties in their reactions. A man who observes can predict outcomes long before others recognize patterns exist. Men who struggle socially often think something is wrong with them. They assume they lack charisma or confidence. The truth is simpler. They are paying attention while others are performing. Their silence is not a flaw. It is the beginning of strategy. Observation turns life into a map instead of a battlefield. You stop guessing. You stop hoping. You start knowing. When you understand how people behave, you influence them without force. Influence without effort is power. Most men never discover it because they are too desperate to be understood, too eager to prove their worth, too afraid of being unseen. A man who observes becomes emotionally untouchable. He no longer reacts to insults because he sees the insecurity behind them. He doesn't chase validation because he notices how cheaply most of it is given. He doesn't interrupt because he listens for leverage, not applause. The world becomes transparent. People become predictable. And predictability gives a man control. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is storage. The moment a man speaks, he reveals something. What he values, what he fears, what he expects. Most men give away their entire psychological profile in the first few minutes of conversation. They talk too much, too quickly, believing more words will create more respect. It does the opposite. Excessive speech announces desperation. A man who speaks less forces others to confront their own assumptions. They fill the silence with their theories, their anxieties, their projections. Silence becomes a mirror, and people expose themselves to avoid sitting with the discomfort of not being understood. They reveal their weaknesses without realizing they are doing it. Silence creates gravity. It draws attention without demanding it. People begin to wonder what he knows, what he thinks, what he is planning. They measure their words before speaking. They treat him with caution, not because he is loud, but because he is unreadable. Most people fear silence because it removes their sense of control. It denies them validation. It forces them to consider the possibility that they are not the most important presence in the room. The silent man does not compete for attention. He becomes the standard others must adjust to. Authority is not established by explaining yourself. Authority is recognized when others choose their words carefully around you. Speaking less does not mean withholding truth. It means eliminating waste. Every unnecessary word reduces the impact of the necessary ones. When a quiet man finally decides to speak, the room changes. People listen, not because he demands respect, but because his voice has scarcity. Scarcity creates value. Value creates influence. Men who master silence do not argue. Arguments expose emotion. They do not justify themselves. Justification reveals insecurity. They do not rush to respond. Speed signals fear. They wait, and waiting shifts the psychological balance. Whoever reacts first loses position. A man who understands this does not chase dominance. he becomes dominance. He stops trying to win conversations. He forces others to qualify themselves. He doesn't prove worth, others sense it. His silence denies access. His presence demands attention. His observation grants autonomy. People cannot manipulate what they cannot measure, and they cannot measure what does not speak. This is why silent men are feared more than loud men. Noise is predictable. Silence is unknown. Silent observation and controlled speech turn a man into something rare, an unpredictable presence. People cannot decode him. They cannot predict his reactions. They cannot control his emotions. His power does not come from aggression, status, or intimidation. It comes from selective expression. In a world addicted to distraction, the man who sees clearly becomes impossible to ignore. He knows what others miss. He hears what others hide. He understands what others deny. And understanding is the first step to influence.
Every man carries a version of himself he refuses to acknowledge. The part that thinks sharper, feels deeper, and wants more than he is willing to admit. This is the shadow, the aggression he suppresses, the ambition he hides, the hunger he fears. He was told these traits are dangerous, selfish, or immoral. So he buried them. He learned to smile instead of confront, agree instead of challenge, settle instead of rise. Society doesn't fear weak men. It fears men who are aware of their power. That's why most men are trained to amputate the strongest parts of themselves, not physically, mentally. A man who rejects his shadow becomes half alive. He looks calm, but inside he is restless. He feels something missing, yet cannot explain what it is. His potential becomes a ghost. The shadow is not the enemy. It is the part of a man that refuses to be conditioned. It is the instinct that senses disrespect, the intuition that detects lies, the ambition that wants more than survival. When a man suppresses his darker impulses, he suppresses his edge. And without edge, he becomes safe to ignore. A man who embraces his shadow does not become cruel. He becomes complete. He understands his intensity, not as chaos, but as fuel. He stops apologizing for wanting respect. He stops shrinking to protect fragile egos. He stops pretending he is content when he knows he was meant for more. The world warns men about arrogance, yet rewards those who move with certainty. It condemns anger, yet obeys those who channel it. It shames desire, yet follows those who act on it. The contradiction is intentional. A man disconnected from his shadow is compliant. A man connected to it is unpredictable. The moment a man integrates his shadow, he stops fearing his own thoughts. He stops seeking permission to exist the way he is. His emotions no longer control him, they inform him. His desires no longer embarrass him, they direct him. His instincts no longer frighten him, they sharpen him. Men are not broken, they are incomplete. Their missing piece is not softness, it is shadow. Weakness is not the lack of strength. Weakness is self-division. When a man suppresses what he truly feels or wants, he creates internal conflict. His body says fight, but his mind says comply. His instincts say act, but his conditioning says wait. He becomes split between who he is and who he was told to be. This fracture destroys men silently. They walk through life tense, restless, resentful, wondering why nothing feels right. It is not life that drains them. It is the effort required to hide their truth. Suppression demands constant maintenance. It consumes willpower, confidence, and presence. Eventually, the man collapses under the weight of pretending. Men think being calm means being emotionless, But emotional numbness is not calmness, it is suffocation. Suppressed anger turns into depression. Denied ambition becomes envy. Repressed desire converts into addiction. Nothing disappears, it mutates. A man who integrates his shadow does not act on every impulse. He understands the source of the impulse. He doesn't repress his aggression, he directs it into discipline. He doesn't deny his ambition, he channels it into purpose. He transforms pressure into power. The world respects a man who is capable of wrath, but chooses control. It ignores a man who cannot feel anything at all. Strength is not avoiding darkness. Strength is mastering it. A man who understands his shadow is stable because nothing inside him is unknown. He has no hidden detonators waiting to explode. Suppression makes a man dangerous to himself. Integration makes him dangerous to the world. When a man stops apologizing for his edge, people begin to notice him. They feel something about him they can't name. He isn't louder. He isn't angrier. He isn't reckless. He is whole. And wholeness is terrifying. A man who knows what he is capable of moves differently. He doesn't seek respect. It forms around him. He doesn't chase position. Others adjust to his presence. His life stops being a reaction. It becomes a direction. The shadow was never meant to be killed, only understood.
Most men react, few respond. The difference is not subtle. It is the boundary between prey and strategist. The world rewards those who speak first, move fast, and reveal their emotions. But the man who does not rush is feared. People cannot manipulate what they cannot predict. They cannot prepare for what they cannot read. Delayed response is not laziness. It is psychological control. A man who delays his reactions is no longer owned by impulse or emotion. He pauses, evaluates, and chooses his timing. He lets silence expand, lets others expose themselves, lets tension work in his favor. This pause is the birth of advantage. Most people cannot tolerate silence. It reminds them they are not in control. They expect instant replies, immediate decisions, emotional explanations. When a man refuses to participate in urgency, people feel destabilized. Their rhythm breaks, their certainty collapses. They reveal their motives without realizing it. A delayed response is a mirror. It shows who is desperate, who is insecure, who is pretending. It exposes the truth behind words and intentions. When a man delays, he observes. When he observes, he understands. When he understands, he dominates. The world expects men to react because reaction is predictable. Predictability is exploitable. Patience is not the absence of action, it is the refusal to act before power is secured. A man who learns this stops rushing into arguments, decisions, and traps disguised as opportunities. He understands that time is not neutral. Time is leverage. Whoever controls the pace controls the outcome. The impatient man moves to feel alive. The patient man moves to win. Impulse is the enemy of power. Men ruin opportunities, damage relationships, and expose vulnerabilities because they cannot sit with discomfort. They speak to avoid silence. They act to avoid uncertainty. They chase to avoid feeling insignificant. Every impulsive move confesses something: fear. Impulse is not energy, it is escape. It reveals a man who fears stillness because stillness forces him inward, and a man who cannot face himself cannot face the world. Emotional timing changes this dynamic. It turns every reaction into an intentional choice instead of a reflex. A man with emotional timing does not respond when pressured. He does not speak when provoked. He does not decide when uncertain. He waits, not because he is unsure, but because he understands that choices made without clarity become liabilities. He acts when the noise clears and the truth stands alone. This kind of man becomes unsettling. People cannot tell if he is planning, ignoring, or observing. They begin to doubt their tactics, they question their assumptions, they adjust their behavior to accommodate him without knowing why. This shift is not communicated, it is extracted. Timing makes a man's presence feel heavier, his decisions feel deliberate, his silence feels intentional. The world begins to read into everything he does and everything he does not do. He gains influence without demanding it. The man who masters emotional timing stops losing battles he never needed to fight. He does not chase closure, validation, or reactions. He lets others reveal themselves first. He studies details others ignore, their tone, their urgency, their inconsistencies. He dissects motives before responding. By the time he speaks, the outcome is already decided. This is why men who control timing are perceived as dangerous. They don't move emotionally, they move strategically. They do not play the game, they design the rules. Impulse men are loud, strategic men are decisive. One burns energy, the other accumulates it. One reacts to the world, the other bends it. Emotional timing transforms a man from a participant into an orchestrator. He no longer feels pushed, rushed, or cornered. He becomes the one who dictates distance, pace, and tone. Others learn that provoking him is a mistake because he will not respond when expected. And when he does, the impact is irreversible. Power is not an action. Power is in the moment before action. When a man no longer fears silence, he becomes someone others fear interrupting. When he no longer reacts, he becomes someone others must anticipate. His patience becomes the psychological terrain everyone else must navigate. The man who controls timing controls perception, and perception shapes reality.
There is a moment in a man's life when he realizes he is not tired. He is misused. He is not weak. He is unfocused. He is not lost. He has been taught to abandon himself. The world does not break men with force. It breaks them by convincing them to fear the parts of themselves that make them powerful. The habits you have now seen are not techniques. They are thresholds. A man crosses them and something irreversible happens. His sense of self shifts. The world feels smaller, clearer, slower. The noise fades, and what remains is direction. Controlled detachment frees a man from emotional ransom. He stops giving access to people who have not earned it. He stops bleeding energy into opinions that do not matter. He walks into rooms without needing to be liked, understood, or approved. And that alone unsettles others, because most men are trapped in the need to belong. Silent observation sharpens his perception. He no longer speaks to fill space or prove intelligence. He studies others while they expose themselves through words and impulses. His silence becomes a force. His presence becomes a question others cannot answer. He knows more than he says, and because of that, he carries weight without effort. Shadow integration gives him depth. He does not fear ambition, anger, desire, or intensity. He does not suppress them, he directs them. The parts he once hid become sources of power. His emotions stop being explosions, they become engines. He no longer feels divided, he becomes whole. Delayed response grants him timing. He does not react when provoked. He does not defend himself when misunderstood. He does not chase what is leaving. He decides when to speak, when to move, and when to disappear. Others learn quickly that he is not rushed or cornered. Time bends around the man who does not fear waiting. These 4 habits alter something fundamental. He no longer fits into the world. The world adjusts to him. People treat him differently without knowing why. They watch him. They second-guess themselves. They speak carefully. They respect his absence as much as his presence. He becomes someone they cannot categorize, predict, or ignore. That is not charisma. That is power. The ordinary man seeks comfort. The threatening man seeks clarity. The ordinary man avoids tension. The threatening man uses it. The ordinary man hides his potential. The threatening man embodies it. A threatening man is not dangerous because he harms others. He is dangerous because he is no longer available to be controlled. He does not react emotionally. He does not compete for attention. He does not defend his existence. He arrives as he is, and that is enough. Most men are taught to fear this transformation. They are told it will make them difficult, distant, arrogant. In truth, it makes them sovereign. When a man becomes sovereign, he becomes a presence, not a participant. He becomes an influence, not an accessory. He becomes a standard, not an option. The world remembers men like this, not because they sought recognition, but because their existence forced others to recognize themselves.